Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard gets approved in another country. We get our first look at the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Overwatch 2 is off to a rocky start. We have those topics and more to cover, but before we get started, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, and we can keep you up to date with gaming news. Now let's get started. First, we had that Nintendo Direct featuring the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and the Direct was being broadcast at New York Comic Con at the same time. So it doesn't look like they got to see it 5 minutes before the rest of us, they just enjoyed it at the same time. We get an introduction, of course, by Miyamoto. Then we see Chris Milladantri, who's the producer for the movie from Illumination. And they mentioned they were finalizing the animation and that scoring would start in 11 days. And that they're working with Kojo Kondo in order to integrate the music into the movie. And then we see Chris Pratt, and he tells us how much he loved playing Mario games growing up. Then we have Jack Black, who plays Bowser, talking about how he learned to breathe fire for the role, obviously joking. And next, it looks like the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft has passed another hurdle. We have this headline here from VGC. Brazilian regulator approves Microsoft's proposed Activision Blizzard deal. So on Wednesday, Brazil's Administrative Council for Economic Defense, or CADE, I guess they pronounce that CADE, I'm not sure, said that it approved the acquisition with zero restrictions. Considering the huge popularity of Call of Duty, it is reasonable to infer that if Activision Blizzard games were no longer available on Sony consoles, PlayStation users could decide to migrate to Xbox or even a PC to continue having access to franchise games. On the other hand, it's almost reasonable to assume that if upcoming Call of Duty games became exclusive to the Microsoft ecosystem, players loyal to the PlayStation brand could simply abandon the series, migrating their demand to other games available on their favorite console. So basically the CADE, and I'm just going to call it the CADE because that sounds cooler, says that players can play a different first-person shooter if Call of Duty becomes an exclusive on Xbox. The CADE goes on to say that it believes exclusive content has been very important for competition in the console market. Exclusive games are a benchmark of competition between Microsoft and Sony Interactive Entertainment, although no company has so far developed or acquired an exclusive game that has decisively shifted the balance in favor of a console. This is because proprietary exclusive games are less popular and represent less revenue than third-party AAA games, which, until then, are available on Xbox and PlayStation. So this is definitely a relief if you're Microsoft, and just to give kind of a timeline of what to expect coming up, according to a report published on Tuesday, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, could reportedly rule on Microsoft's proposed acquisition by late November, while the UK, on the other hand, has set a deadline for March 1st. So I have a feeling that if the U.S. Federal Trade Commission goes ahead and allows the acquisition, probably the other regulatory bodies around the world will just continue to go along, as there's already been a precedent set in several countries. Next, Overwatch 2 released on Tuesday, and it's had a bit of a rocky start. They suffered a denial of service during the launch and players were unable to log in. There's been some other glitchiness going on, but probably the most controversial decision is that they decided that you had to have your account tied to a mobile phone number just to play the game. Now, this was supposed to be so that they could ban players and prevent them from signing back up under a different name. Well, they are partially backing off of this. There was this status update posted on forums.blizzard.com We designed Overwatch 2 to be a live service which enables us to be responsive to a variety of player feedback. We have made the decision to remove phone number requirements for a majority of existing Overwatch players. Any Overwatch player with a connected Battle.net account, which includes all players who have played since June 9th, 2021, will not have to provide a phone number to play. We are working to make this change and expect it to go live on Friday, October 7th, which is today. We will update players once it is in effect. So it's good that they are letting people who already played Overwatch not have to put this phone number in order to play Overwatch 2. I do have to wonder if this will deter new players from signing up. And I think there were some mumblings that maybe they were selling your cell phone number to telemarketers, but I'm not really seeing any evidence of that besides just some internet speculation. So let me know in the comments, does the requirement of a cell phone number to play Overwatch 2 deter you from playing the game? Next, just a quick update, we finally get an official announcement for that new Need for Speed game, and it is of course Need for Speed Unbound, as we've been seeing lots of the leaks say. And the game does have this stylized look. I've heard some people describe it as anime look, some as cel shaded. So I'm not sure exactly what you call it, but the game will be releasing on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on December 2nd. So only the current gen systems are getting the game. There's no PS4 or Xbox One version. Now you can also pre-order the title, and if you do, you can play 3 days earlier as well as receive some exclusive items. But I have a feeling none of the reviews are going to be out before that pre-order period expires. So personally I'm going to wait and see what those reviews look like, just given the track record of Need for Speed for the last decade or so. And finally, since it's Friday, let's take a look at the latest sales numbers from Famitsu coming out of Japan. We actually have a few new titles here. On the software side, we have Splatoon 3, of course, coming in at number 1. And then at number 2 on the PS4, we have Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kiseki 2, which I think I'm pronouncing that right. And we'll talk about that title here in a minute. And then we have 3 new entries for 2 new titles. In the number 3 spot, we have the PS4 version of Valkyrie Elysium, followed by FIFA 23 for the PS4, and then the PS5 version of Valkyrie Elysium. Then at number 6 we have Dragon Quest X Rise of the 5 Tribes Offline, and then at number 7 we have the PS4 version of the Legend of Heroes game, and then we have the Switch version of FIFA 23 Legacy Edition coming in at number 8. And then at number 9, we have Rhythm Festival for the Switch. And then finally, it wouldn't be a top 10 without Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And The Legend of Heroes Kuro no Kiseki 2 is a turn-based role-playing game. And this is part of the Trails series. And an English version of the first one is supposed to be released at some point in time, but we haven't got a release date for it yet, so it may be a while before we see the second one come in an English version. Now flipping over to the hardware sales, we have the Switch OLED model at number 1, the original Switch at number 2, and the PlayStation 5 coming in at number 3, with the Xbox Series S and X right behind that. And then we have the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition and the Switch Lite coming in all the way down at number 7. I think a lot of people that are wanting to buy a Switch are buying that OLED model, so that's kind of dropped off people interested in the Switch Lite. Now the combination of both PS5 models did outsell the combination of both Xbox Series models, but the Xbox Series systems seem to be doing a lot better than they have in the past in Japan, especially that Series S. And since it does seem like the gap kind of keeps narrowing, I have to wonder how much of that price increase for the PlayStation 5 in Japan has contributed. And that's all we have for today. Did anything we cover catch your attention? What were your impressions of that Super Mario Bros. Movie teaser trailer? And do you think more free-to-play online games will require a cell phone number in order to sign up? drop a comment about those topics or anything else we covered today. I want to thank you for watching, have a great weekend, and be good.